Good afternoon, everybody. This is Speed Gaming 5. This is the ALTTPR League. This is the Week 6 match between Spherefinity, represented by P-Train, and CLW, represented by Pikapals. My name is Arusta, and my co-commentator here is James FNX. How are you doing today, James?
I'm doing great, and this is gonna be a real exciting match. This is a real important match in the Hyrule Castle division. 5 teams are sitting on 18 points with 4 matches left to go in the division, and we got 2 of them here. So each match is going to be super important to see who makes it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and we will be getting going in just a few seconds here. There is no delay, so we will be seeing it live.
And if this is the first time you're dropping in on one of these spoiler log races, what's going on is we got P-Train and Pikapals running the seed, and then each of these guys have a co-pilot that has the spoiler log, and it's going to be handing them information as we go along, telling them where the keys are, where the important items are to finish the seed. So it's going to be a test of both these runners' execution and the communication between these two teams, the two teammates, to see who gets it to the finish line first.
All right, and looks like we are getting started just now. One thing to note if you've seen spoiler log races in the past is that one thing that's unique about this is that since you have a co-pilot, that spoiler log comes in right at the start. You don't get any time to review it, so you'll probably see the runners make some checks just to give their some time.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of things. We've seen people say, just go directly to Kakariko and just open some chests and we'll figure it out. And on P-Train's side, he's going to choose to go directly and do the Hooligan room and give his pilot some time to read the spoiler log and pick up some rupees along the way. With these key sanity seeds, it's important to get these rupees early because you're going to have less locations to drop rupees in the overworld. And if the bottle vendor has something or Zora has something, it's important to get that money.
Yeah, and the other benefit for it is you see Pikapals here trying to farm up bombs. A lot of the times you will not necessarily get bombs because those will be an optional chest, so having some extra money up front might make it easier to buy bombs if you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone asked me in chat if we have access to the spoiler log. We do. Both of us are just going to let the seed play out, and as we look at it, our tracker has access to the log too, so they should be putting the information together, at least for crystals and pendants, soon. If they choose to.
Yeah, our tracker today is Dark Diplomat, and thank you to Dark for pushing some buttons for us.
P-Train getting a bit luckier with those 50-50 bomb drops south of the Grove. The co-pilot saved for this race on Spherecinity's side. P-Train is being co-piloted by Sabatender, and CLW has Swerve co-piloting Pikapal.
Yeah, and really the interesting thing about this race is that when you do something like a co-pilot, the co-pilot's role is almost as important as the runner, if not more so, because you see they're skipping a lot of checks, all that. If you skip a chest that you need, that's a huge time loss in this mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pikapal's picking up blue mail into red mail into the bow in Blind's Hut, while P-Train picks up a key. That red mail is really important because you're going to be picking up a lot less heart containers and pieces of heart in this mode. You only want to do the checks that to actually get you to the finish line, and I'm sure both these runners have talked about how comfortable they are doing certain dungeons and what equipment they have. So knowing that comfort level and getting that information lets you check less places. Pikapals picks up the power gloves in Lost Woods.
Yeah, that's actually a big part of the planning for these sorts of races, is making sure your co-pilot knows, okay, these are the safeties I value. This is how far out of the way I'd be willing to go for an extra sword or silvers or extra mail or bottles or whatever.
Yeah, and unlike other randomizer races, everything is open information. We aren't requiring the streamers not to stream snipe in this one because everyone has the information. So you can take a look and see where your opponent is and see how risky you're going to have to be to finish this race.
Yeah, and this is, like when you see something like where Pikapals just sort of walked in a circle there, that was probably something where the co-pilot comes out and says, oh, wait a minute, we need something down here. Because like I said, at the start of these seeds, the co-pilot gets the entire log all at once and has to basically plan out the route on the fly.
Yeah, it looks like Pikapals was headed towards the dam area and got told to go somewhere else. Might be looking to try and farm some rupees up for that big key, the bottle vendor. A back of escape is loaded with the TR Big, the Moon Pearl, and the Flippers. Pikapals is farming up for some bombs. Must need something out of Mini Moldarm Cave.
Yeah, it looks like P-Train is going to do the same thing, go to buy some bombs rather than just farming that 50-50 outside Link's house.
It's not. It is not Mini Moldarm Cave's both runners saving.
Looks like Pikapals is going to do the loaded back of escape, get the flippers and big key that we've already seen, and Pearl.
P-Train is making his way either to Mini Moldarm or to the Ice Rod Cave. Looks like we're going to stop at Mini Moldarm first. Having red mail, you can just hold onto that bomb and tank a hit and not take any damage. Pits don't care though. A little bit of ether action.
And Fire Rod, which is good this early, because really with just bombs and a bow of 0 arrows, that Fire Rod might be some nice to use as a weapon if they need to go through kill rooms.
Absolutely. Pikapals making his way over to this Fire Rod and either gets those Mini Moldarms killed and get those up short. Also picking up a piece of heart. That's, I think, Pikapal's second piece of heart. Often you'll see runners grab one piece of heart here, one piece of heart there, and try and get an extra heart out of locations they're already visited.
Yeah, and the other thing, since you tend to go through these seeds at low percentage, one other thing that I've seen at least a few teams do is if you know you've got 3/4 of a piece of heart, you intentionally avoid getting that 4th quarter piece of heart for the full heart and the free refill until you really need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we're going to be making a trip over to Zora's Ledge.
Also, shout outs to Speed Gaming the Prime Speed Gaming channel for the raid. Thank you very much, and welcome to all our new runners. This is a Link to the Past Randomizer League. The unique thing about this week is that both teams, which is Sphere Affinity represented by P-Train and CLW represented by Pikapals, both have a co-pilot in the same Discord channel with the runner, telling them basically where everything is, because you get a little document listing off where's the keys, where's the items, all that. So it's sort of like having a co-pilot navigator tell you where you're going.
Got a big key on Zora's ledge. It's the Swamp Big. That is an interesting out-of-the-way location. So the Swamp Big chest has got to have something these runners need. Both of them also picked up a bottle with red potion at the Hobo, which is another safety they're going to want with this low percentage run. P-Train making his way over to Saraslo's hut. Or we gotta find a hammer and a heart container. It's gonna be a sigh of relief for P-Train. Finally have a full heart container along his route.
Yeah, and that hammer is a pretty reliable weapon. It's got a bit of a funky hitbox, but both these runners and both these teams are very, very excellent and top-tier runners, so they're both, I'm sure, very comfortable with dealing with the hammer's quirkiness.
Yeah, absolutely. And that hammer also gets us Dark World access as P-Train hops right in. And we're making a stop at Hype Cave.
And to answer a question in chat, yes, neither runner has a sword at this point, but, well, now
That
they
solved
do.
that problem.
Yeah, but I mean, 10 minutes into the seed, that's not necessarily uncommon, especially for a mode like this, where if you know that, for example, there's a sword in Eastern, but you can't clear it since you don't have the big key, maybe you put off Eastern for a while.
Yeah. P-Train also picked up a small key to Palace Darkness and a small key to Skull Woods. Skull Woods small keys aren't required for the for completing the dungeon, but it may speed up picking up items in the front of the dungeon, depending on the layout. Another pod small.
Which it is worth noting, pod is a pendant, so when you're going to go out of your way, since you saw he saved and quit right after there must be something in pod, because if there wasn't, he would have completely skipped that check, saved himself about 30 seconds, 45 seconds there.
Yeah, absolutely. They also went out of the way to grab Ether, and Turtle Rock is also a pendant, so maybe a loaded pendant dungeons kind of seed for us. P-Train is off to the Village Outcasts, and Pikapals right on his tail.
Yeah, that is one interesting thing about this mode, is a lot of times you will see less divergence than you'd see in a normal seed, just because you're not going to make checks that are useless, and you sort of route in, okay, what's the easiest way to do these dungeons to minimize backtracking?
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we're going to get treated to a 4-heart fighter sword Mothla fight here in a minute. P-Train is... Yep, heading into Skull Woods.
Yeah, it is worth noting that without the big key, cannot do the big chest in here, but have to assume if he's coming in here, his co-pilot has already verified the big chest is useless and not going to force a double dip.
Meanwhile, Pikapals is heading to the chess game. Gets the flute. Be interesting to see if there is another piece of heart floating around in Village Outcasts that give Pikapals, who is up to 5 hearts now, a little bit more of a cushion for some of these harder boss fights with your spider sword.
Yeah, meanwhile, P-Train getting the small key to Thieves Town, which that unlocks the big chest.
Yeah, we'll need the big key for that as well. So not likely that this routing convergence is going to cost Pikapals a ton of time. We'll see if P-Train needs to hop into Thieves Town for something in the first 4 as well.
Yeah, and it is worth noting that while both these runners are very experienced... Ooh, there's Mirror. That's nice. And that makes that flute very easy to fill up and activate.
Yeah, this seems like a better route out of Pikapal's side. Getting able to get that flute and a mirror. It's going to be able to activate that flute and also going to be able to put that mirror to good use. Even in a dungeon like this, if you need to pick up an item, that first item in the back, good way to save some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And P-Train drops into his 4-heart fighter sword Mothula fight. It is worth noting P-Train does have a red potion in a bottle.
Yeah, meanwhile, Pikapals is heading up the mountain. Tower of Hair is up here and accessible, and with no keys yet, so can't do much here other than the first 2.
And that was a fantastic Mothula fight there by P-Train. Very safe, still pretty quick though. So very nice.
Yeah, these spoiler log races are definitely showcases for execution. This Pikapals is going to pick up these Titans mitts inside Spectral Rock, but knowing how to do fights on low equipment is very, very important for these.
Pulling off the bomb jump there, very nice.
We got an ice rod up top on Spectral Rock. We'll see if Pikapals grabs that. If we do, that's a good sign that Trinex is going to have something these runners need, or that this might be a pedestal seed. Pikapals does pick up that ice rod.
Yeah, and shout outs to our new Twitch Prime subscriber. Thank you for subscribing to Speed Gaming 5, Loxley.
P-Train is going to pick up his flute now, and see if he hops into Thieves Town to get that mirror. Meanwhile, Pikapal is showing some good knowledge of the game, knowing that there's a bomb shop over here on Paradox Cave, and picks up a refill.
Yeah, and bombing the bottom to open it up, but didn't enter, so it's probably something where the co-pilot said there's something in Paradox, but wasn't quite sure on the chip, which is definitely one of those things that happens a decent bit in these sort of seeds, because there's a lot you have to communicate, so sometimes it's easier to just say, it's in Paradox, ask me again when you get there.
Right, exactly. Pikapals does pick up a couple of heart containers, going up to 7 hearts now.
Yeah, and that can definitely be a subtle little advantage here, because that's one of the things, like we've been mentioning, the execution. These seeds tend to be not just low percent, but also pretty quick. I mean, we've seen several sub hours, and something like 110 is very common as well. So even just one death can really put you behind.
Yeah, and those 2 hearts on red mail is an extra hit from any boss in the game. So, yeah, you're going to see these runners get on. With red mail, you're going to see these runners get on odd heart counts to pick up that extra hit. Pikapals heading up to the floating island up.
Yeah, I did not quite see what it was. I think it was something yellow, so it was either a big key or a medallion. I think it was a big key. We'll see in a sec.
It is a big key to Tower of Hera. So we have items for all of our pendant dungeons at this point. It's starting to look a little bit like a pedestal seed.
Yeah, and it is worth noting with bombs, there is a strategy to do Hera Pot, which allows you to skip the big key entirely. I would guess that I don't know enough about Pikapals to know if they know that strategy or not, but at this level, I would guess they probably do, and it's probably something in big chest. Oh, shoutouts to GFE for correcting me in chat. They need hook shot to do Hera Pot, so
yeah, you
that
need hook shot either way. You can set it up with bombs or with the boots, so. There's our lamp. With these low heart setups with Mire being required, that lamp's going to make our Mire trip a lot less stressful for these runners.
Yeah, and chat pointing out something interesting. P-Train ignored his ice rod as he was walking by, which presumably means that Trinex is not required, or it could be just that there was a miscommunication. It's always hard to tell with these sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice Hera bomb jump to get the hook shot in the big chest. And Pikapals is going to continue on to the boss here. So there's either something at Srosla with this green pendant, or this actually is a pedestal seed.
Oh, and Pika trying to sneak by by that hole there and just falls right in. That is surprisingly tight, tighter than it looks.
Yeah, and it's harder, a little bit harder without the boots, at least for me. Looks like P-Train is trying to farm something. Oh, he needs bombs to get that big key. He's forgotten about that shop down there. Maybe. He's heading back down.
It is worth noting that Hera was also the green pendant, so while it could be pedestal, it could also just be something on the green pendant.
Yeah, I forgot that the shop actually needs a bomb to open, so it's an awkward day. There's also a bomb inside a Turtle Rock, so that may be the one he picks up. No, chooses not to open. There's no bombs in here.
And that pause there was P-Train realizing, oh boy, no bombs.
And that's the Hera big key that makes this trip necessary. Meanwhile, Pikapals side picking up silver arrows in the mire shed.
Which definitely makes a lot of sense. It's typically considered around a 40-50 second time save on Ganon, and with this amount of gameplay left, it's also a big time save on Vitreous, which is a crystal for Misery Mire.
Yep. P-Train's going to farm this bomb here in Tarahera. Pikapals picks up the Master Sword in Checkerboard.
And to answer a question in chat about whether runners get silvers more frequently in spoiler mode, it usually is because they know where it is, and it's also something that's often very easy to route in. Additionally, since you know you're going to be doing Ganon on probably lower health and, not this case, but usually lower mail than you're used to, a lot of the times that extra safety on Ganon is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if both bows are not too far out of the way, you're going to see our runners pick them up. The only time you might see them skip the silvers is if it's buried deep in Ganon's tower, or in a dungeon that doesn't have anything else for them.
Yeah, meanwhile, Pikapals is going into Ice Palace here. Does not have Cane of Samaria, so can't do the cool new tech of the Icebreaker, so going to have to do it the old school way with IPBJ. It is worth noting that Icebreaker is enough of a time save that you normally would not do this, so I wonder if Samaria or something else that they require to even get Samaria is in here.
P-Train choosing to skip the lamp in the map chest in here.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. He does have Fire Rod, so he's got a fire source already, and a bottle if he needs, magic for Ganon or something later on. But it could be, it does make execution a little harder. I wonder if maybe that's something, since in this week they are allowed to watch the opponent's stream, he realized he's a little behind Pikapals because of the whole bomb issue and just wanted to save a few seconds there.
Yeah, he also chooses not to do the bomb jump in Tarahera. It's not super tricky. It is one of the harder bomb jumps, and missing it does send you down 2 floors. So worth it to be safe if you're not super confident in executing it, especially in a race that looks like it's going to be as tight as this.
Yeah, and there is no delay on the restream this week, just to clarify, since the runners have spoiler logs anyways. Usually the pilot you're allowed to watch the opponent's stream, you're allowed to watch the restream. I think we've had at least a couple races, shoutouts to Sailor Nep, where the runners have, during like cutscenes or anything, come in and chatted with chat a little bit, even in the restream.
P-Train getting bullied a little bit by Moldworm here. Item and Iced Tea, the worst location. The Swamp Small, though, that is an absolutely required key.
Yeah, and that's also pretty big in general, because Swamp has, I believe, like 10, 12 locations? A lot of locations, whatever it is, in this mode, so there's a good chance there's something useful there.
Pikapals heading over. Master Sword, Fire Rod, Red Pot. This shouldn't be too much of a problem for him.
Well, not really Fire Rod, because it's going to burn up all his magic.
Yeah, so still though, I've seen harder fights harder cold stare fights in this mode than what Pikapals had.
Oh, definitely.
And with red male, Pikapals can take one hit from these eyes without dying. Now cannot take any hits from those eyes without dying, and isn't going to pop that red pot.
Yeah, that's definitely the right call there. It is worth noting, we've seen this a couple times in this fight, with red male, the little ice off the ceiling only does half a heart. So at least a couple times in that fight, Pikapals abuse the fact that you can take that hit, use the invincibility frames to dodge away from the puffs, which do 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah, really well executed. And Cold Stare has our boots. So we're going to go fast now.
Saving quit there is interesting. Wonder if going to somewhere where the boot's locked, or... Nope, looks straight to swamp. Which it is worth noting with hammer, hookshot, and the flippers in the swamp small, this is a clearable crystal. The only thing you can't get is the big chest, but it's far enough in the seed that I'm sure they've confirmed that.
Oh, they have the big. They got the big for swamp fairly early, both of them. So they can full clear this dungeon.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong crystal. Yes, they can full clear this.
And they went out of their way to grab the big, so there is likely something in that big chest. We know P-Train skipping that Ice Pal's big chest. Pikapals did not have the big key when he went through Ice Palace, so no foul there for Pikapals. P-Train getting that swamp small is going to make his way to Cold Stare.
Hesitating for a second there, probably just chatting things over with the co-pilot.
Yeah, probably just making sure they didn't need anything from the right-hand side of ice. The desert big is locked inside the swamp big.
Yeah, and that explains why they got that, because the Desert Palace is a crystal, so we will need that at some point.
P-Train is going on this fight with just a Master Sword. Did not pick up that, or just a Fighter Sword. Did not pick up the Master Sword from Meyer Shed. So this is going to be a hammer-only fight for him. Does have that red pot. He's going to crack it right here.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing about the swords. Like, I mean, it was a trip. Pikapals did it pretty much just for the sword. Is the only thing that is immediately useful. So it could theoretically save P-Train some time to route that in when you do Mire or Desert. But the amount of extra damage you do Fighter to Master can really make up for it over the entire course of the seed.
Yep, absolutely. Really well done fight from P-Train. Meanwhile, on the other side, Pikapals picked up the big key for Eastern Palace out of one of the two flooded chests in Swamp. So Swamp Palace having a couple really important keys in it today.
Yeah, and just to note, P-Train did a very nice job with that hammer cold stare there.
This is really smart from P-Train, taking a little bit of time out to get these inventory upgrades. It's going to have some extra bombs. Most importantly is refilling his arrows, so that bow is now a useful weapon. As P-Train does pick up those silvers and another pod small.
Which looks like it's where Pikapals is going now. With 3 keys, depending on how you route it, you can pretty much check anything except the big chest or the boss.
Yeah, no big key as of yet. Could be contained inside pods. Definitely a possibility. But yeah, just about anywhere you want to go in this dungeon, you can with 3 keys. The only thing that might be awkward is if there's an item in both the big vanilla big key chest and in Harmless Hellweb.
And that answers the question as to why they killed Moldorm. That green pendant was our Ganon's Tower big key.
Yeah, that one's real important.
So get your guesses in for how many chests they open in Ganon's Tower. I'm guessing 0.
P-Train gonna make his way over to Swamp. And this dive into pod tells me that either this is not a pedestal seed, or we're gonna need to make a double dip into pod if it is. There's the TT big in pod in the money room. That Thieves Town big is another one of the required keys today.
Yeah, unfortunately we are not able to list the co-pilots on the stream itself, but just so that people are aware of it, Sphere Affinity, represented by P-Train, is currently being co-piloted by Sabatender, and Pikapals, representing CLW, is currently being co-piloted by Swerb. Also, shout-outs to our tracker, Dark Diplomat, who is doing a very good job keeping me on track. My name is Arusta, and also co-commentator James FN. You're watching here on Speed Gaming 5.
And just a reminder, after this race is done, the co-pilots and the runners are going to swap spots, and we're going to have another race in this matchup once this is completed. So stick around for that. So at this point, runners are looking to get directed towards Bombos and the Cane of Samaria, and that is likely the Misery Mire Big. So we're very close to having everything we need for these 2 runners. There's the Cane of Samaria and Eastern Palace. we're definitely at the point in these spoiler log seeds where it's just time to clear dungeons.
Yeah, this is far enough in. You've got your route pretty much all set, and at this point, the pilot's role is almost as much watching the opponent, letting you know, hey, be calm, we got this, etc., and maybe just as the runner's going through, either reminding them or saying, hey, I need an extra heart. Is there anyone anywhere near here I can get a refill, or things like that?
Yeah, exactly. P-Train doing a good job of this Argus fight, grabbing 2 of those puffs at a time to spin.
Meanwhile, Pikapals getting a nice quick kill there on the Armos Knights with silvers. And so that is basically at this point the big difference is that Pikapals has full cleared Eastern, so he's about an Eastern ahead.
Yeah, Pikapals has an Eastern. P-Train did pick up the Swamp Crystal fairly early. Pikapals will have to go back there at some point, but should have a faster time of it with Master Sword and a bit more room to play loose with 7 hearts.
And buying the Misery Mire big key on the way there, Pikapals.
Yeah, so he's going to go kill Mothula right now. P-Train's going to go get what he needs out of Palace of Darkness. And so we're just looking for bombos, it looks like, at this point.
Yeah, and you do have to think there's a good chance it's in Turtle Rock, since they went out of their way to get both Ether and the big key and a small key there. You have to think there's something in Turtle Rock they want.
Yeah, no, Pikapals does not have that Thieves Town small key, so whatever's in the big chest is not interesting to CLW. Really good Hellway from Pikapals. There's that Bombos, so Turtle Rock is out of the equation at this point. Just doing a scan here, it looks like the Pikapals is now in go mode with that Bombos medallion.
Yeah, because they don't need a key from Mire. They can pick it up from the pot, and they don't need the desert. They get the key from the back. Just go straight to the back. So yeah, looks like they're in go mode.
And they have 1 GT small, which is all they need. So yeah, we are in go mode on Pikapal's side. P-Train will be joining them soon, hopefully. And this blind fight is the one fight in these spoiler log races where your low percentage equipment doesn't really matter that much. 9 hits no matter what weapon you use. Pikapal's following the script, getting it done. this is going to be the point where that lamp comes into play a little bit. P-Train's got to go through the dark rooms here, which isn't that big of a deal with Fire Rod, but it does go a little bit slower than Pikapals did with that lamp. And there's still Misery Mire to do as well, and that's where Pikapals is going to pick up a bunch of time having that lamp in his inventory. Even with doing Spooky Glitch, it's still going to be some time saved in movement.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say is, I mean, that's really where the time difference is going to be made up of picking up that lamp. I know P-Train does know that dark room. I've seen him do it, but it's always slower without lamp, even if you've got it down cold.
Yeah, and on 7 Hearts, it's a little scary if things get out of control, because red mail doesn't matter to any of the enemies that you're going to face in that dark room. Both the shooter, fire, and the spike traps do 1 damage no matter what armor.
Pikapals showing off a very nice little trick there, getting the Gibdos trapped against the spike, because the spike actually does gold sword damage, so it kills it a lot quicker than if he was just trying to kill it with just the sword.
Yeah, and that fact also required some recoding of Mothula's room and Randomizer. Those spikes that Mothula's invulnerable to, because they do gold sword damage, it had to be recoded a bit to have the gold sword do tempered damage for the fight in case you ended up in that room. Otherwise, you'd end up either having to poke it to death or being locked up.
Yeah, and to answer a question in chat, P-Train did buy upgrades from the upgrade fairy right after Ice Palace, because I think at that point he had like very low numbers of arrows and was almost out of bombs.
So Pikapals has a 1 dungeon lead here at this point, as P-Train is running in Pikapals' footsteps in Thieves Town, while Pikapals is heading over to Desert to do the Desert Mire combo and finish things out. We'll see if P-Train makes a play on this big chest. He has the small key that Pikapals did not have. So if there is a sword in that big chest, that could be a little bit of a difference maker.
Yeah, especially with the entire climb, plus it making it quicker on Ganon, that would definitely help P-Train quite a bit if there's something, if he gets that tempered and Pika does not.
Although it looks like P-Train skipped the pot key and just used that TT small as that pot key instead, so that's going to put that big chest out of commission. Pikapals with the silver arrows making quick work of Lamolus.
Yeah, and in case anybody is wondering, since we're not going to see it, what was in that big chest is the just another heart container. So it's possible P-Train was advised to pick that up, just in case they got here and had really low hearts.
really nice Mire 2 out of Pikapals. And P-Train following the script as well and getting blind done without issue. P-Train refilling his red pot for the rest of the game.
Interesting choice there to pick up a red pot instead of a blue.
Yeah, that is a strange decision.
Because at this point, knowing you've only got a couple dungeons left, everything's fully routed out, the odds that you're going to need that more money is only if something goes really wrong and you have to buy an extra potion.
Meanwhile, Pikapals with another trip in the shooting gallery. Vitreous. Going down smooth.
And that is 7 crystals for Pikapals, so just a run up to Death Mountain, run through the tower, and then Ganon himself.
Yep, P-Train and Myers, without that lamps, is going to have to navigate these dark rooms very shortly. Pikapal is going to stop off and pick up a potion as well. He's going to pick up a blue pot here. It's a real smart decision. At this point, his co-pilot's got to be telling him that the only thing he needs to worry about is not dying. P-Train having some problems in this dark room. Let's get the first room done.
Yeah, Dark Mire is definitely no joke, but it is worth noting, as we mentioned earlier, and I think his teammate GFE mentioned as well, is that, you know, the amount of time you would have lost from getting Lamp, since you're right there in Hera, probably that time is already more than made up for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with Pikapal skipping Turtle Rock, just in case anyone's wondering, what was in there was there's a progressive sword and a pre-filled blue potion, but both of them are fairly deep. One's in the big chest, the other's in the roller room. So you'd probably take at least a little bit of time going through those.
Yeah, if the sword had been in the roller room, I think Pikapals would have dove in and grabbed it, but having that sword at the big chest is a little too much time to take. No stops downstairs at all, so we're heading straight up to Ganon.
And to answer the question in chat, what Ped had is the mushroom, which just leads to 300 rupees, so...
At this point, it's just a question of Pikapals is going to pick up any of these 4 chests on the climb. And it's going to need some arrows here.
I'm surprised he didn't turn around and grab those.
Same. I know there's a few places to pick up arrows in the gauntlet, but it's been hard to pass up those 5 arrows there. Maybe there'll be more drops from the other Zazixes. Random fight with no arrows, gonna pluck the fire rod.
Yeah, and there are 5 arrows in this next room, so he has them for Ganon if he needs them, which I'm sure he will.
Oh, and P-Train gets dead rocked. Alright, our first look at chests here, and Pikapals is... skipping the pre-Moldorm chest as well.
But showing off some nice game knowledge there of picking up the exact pots that have the full magic and then the 5 arrows.
Yeah, a little bit of a cushion in case you put an arrow into Ganon just after his invulnerability. Or after his vulnerability. Skips the last chest as well, so we are done with items. P-Train heading downstairs. Means there's got to be a sword down here somewhere if he's taking the time to grab it, and hoping Tempered will make up the time needed. Oh no.
And he is out of magic.
Yeah, he's gonna have to use bombs to set off this crystal. Which the timing on this is very tricky, and the positioning of where you're throwing the bomb is also tricky. Because if you throw it too far to the edge, it's just gonna stick on the side there. Gets the first one, and does get the second one over.
Meanwhile, Pika dropping into his Ganon fight here.
There is that Tempered Sword, and P-Train's gonna make his way up. And P-Train not having a blue potion is gonna have no magic for a fair amount of time here.
does have silver arrows to use on landmos, but
Pikapals with a nice phase 1. Master Sword Ganon is 12 spins in each of these first 2 phases. You can tell Pikapals is very comfortable with this fight.
P-Train deciding to go to the little refill room here. Makes a lot of sense since it's got a full magic.
Yeah, with only 6 arrows, it'll be nice to have that access that fire rod for the landmo fight if needed, if he runs out of arrows here.
Pikapals with a very nice double on that first Ganon cycle, by the way.
That'll do it. Pikapals puts that last arrow into Ganon. Get those GGs in chat. As Pikapals will cross this bridge and win this race for CLW. And with an official SRL time of 1 hour 45 seconds, Pikapals picks up the win for CLW.
Which does put them, for right now, in sole possession of first place in the Hyrule Castle Division.
And P-Train putting the forfeit in.
They have another race scheduled right after this, but we'll see if we can just get them in for just a quick interview.
Yeah, no matter what, sticking around here is race number 2 of this week's matchup between Sphere of Infinity and CLW will be here. Shortly after this, the runners and co-pilots are going to switch seats. We're going to see Sabatender for Sphere of Infinity against Swerve for CLW, with P-Train and Pikapals in the pilot seats. And we're joined right now by P-Train. P-Train, what'd you think of that seed?
I thought it was going really well. After we hit go mode, after I cleared Meyer, I had Sabo pull up the restream to see where the other team was, and they're like, oh, they're entering GT right now. I was like, what? How did we lose that much time?
Yeah, we're also joined
there
by
were a couple of whiffs.
There were a couple of whiffs. We're also joined by Pikapals. Pikapals, congratulations on the win.
Hey, thanks.
Gee, Pikapals.
Gee.
So we had a couple of mistakes. The first one being I wasn't paying attention to my bomb count, and when I went to go get the Hera big key off of Floating Island, I didn't have bombs, so I had to walk over to Hera to farm 2 bombs.
Yeah, we almost ran into the same problem. I had 1 bomb going up Death Mountain, and I swerved quickly like, hey, are there any bombs around? Before actually hitting the Dark World. But luckily that 1 bomb let me buy 10 more, so...
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the bomb
Yeah.
shop in Paradox Cave. Peter, we were surprised you didn't hop into just open up Turtle Rock there and grab the bomb out of the entrance.
Honestly, that didn't occur to me.
I guess that's an option too.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, oh, NMG, like I know there's a bomb in the Beatles room. Whereas the Turtle Rock bomb, like if I was in an entrance mindset, definitely.
Yeah.
But in rando, that just didn't occur to me.
Yeah, makes sense. And since James mentioned the Turtle Rock, wanted to ask, both of you picked up the Ether, the Turtle Rock Big Key, and one Turtle Rock Small Key. Was that just because it was in your way and you hadn't routed it out yet, or was that something you were thinking about going in there for something?
Yeah, that was it. Sabo was like, oh, there's potential progression here. Because that was Mini Moldworm Cave, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that. So that was very early. We were just grabbing anything we might need.
Yeah, it was just, I'm pretty sure it was just, hey, these things are important pretty often, just grab them.
Right. The one thing that the one big difference in items you guys picked up that may have swung some time there. Pikapals, you chose to grab the lamp in Tower of Hera, and P-Train, you went past it.
Yeah, we definitely chose that. Sure. That was definitely a conscious decision. Let's go with that.
Yeah, Swerve just told me, hey, go pick up all the chests in Hera. Just pick up everything you can.
No, we knew it was there too. It wasn't until I got to Pod into the dark basement. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have lamp. And then I was like, Sabo, where was the lamp? He was like, oh, it was the map in Hera. I was like, oh crap.
Oops.
I was like, yeah, that's definitely gonna lose us time. Because I had to do Darkmire, and y'all probably did Spooky, so
Yeah.
lost a good bit of time there. And then I had to go buy a potion because I didn't want to die. I only have 8 hearts, so I didn't want to die in the back of Mire because everything back there is, either a fireball or a blade trap.
True. Yeah. I did something similar in Pod, though, for something less useful. We were running into Pod. He's like, oh, there's a heart container on the bridge and then something in Dark Basement. I'm like, all right, I'll go grab the thing in Dark Basement, and then on my way to Helm, I'll go grab the heart on the bridge. That's like, oh, Helm is a pendant, by the way. Well, guess I'm at 7 hearts then.
Yeah, and an interesting question that GFE raised in chat there, since you mentioned buying that potion near the end, P-Train. Is there a reason you bought a red pot instead of a blue pot, or?
Just in case I wanted to come back and buy something else, because I feel like I'm not 100% sure of my rupee count, but I know that I was low. I didn't suspect I would run out of magic, but I suspected I would run out of hearts. So in the case, depending on how Mire went, how I was feeling about it, I wanted to have the option to come back and buy a blue potion because I knew I didn't have the lamp. I knew that I would need at least half a bar of magic going up to the gauntlet, or I'd have to take the resource room. And then I completely botched the right side of GT, so I ended up having to use bombs to hit the switch, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah. But at that time, we knew we had lost, so I was just kind of, whatever.
That bomb hitbox is kind of awkward. It, never wants to hit that switch unless you're perfect.
Yeah. But no, this was a really fun mode. Even though I lost, it was just kind of fun hanging out with Sabo and just kind of, it's a very low stress run. You know where everything is, you just got to go to it. So, out of curiosity, Pikapals, did you do Turtle Rock for the? Not Turtle Rock. Did you do Thieves Town for the mirror before you did Skull Woods?
We did. We grabbed the mirror out of Thieves Town and then actually did Skull Woods at the end after finishing Thieves Town.
Oh, okay. So I knew that the mirror and flute were in Village of Outcasts, but whenever I chopped down the first bush to go to Village of Outcasts, I got a guard in the bush.
Of course.
With a fighting sword, and I was just like, you know what? I'm so done with this. I'm just going to go kill the bot. So I did
Fair enough.
Four hearts, hammer, and then after killing the moth, I was like, number one, I'm probably overextending. This is a dumb, even if I pull it off, this is just a poor choice. And then also I was like, and if I'd gotten the flute mirror, then I could have just, mirrored and fluted right after Skull Woods, but I had to walk back out because I got annoyed by the bush guard.
Yeah, Swerve was watching, or at least like half watching the stream. So he was like, when I was grabbing the mirror out of Thieves Town, he was like, so you could go up to Skull Woods and finish the boss now if you. That's what our opponents are doing. I'm not sure. I don't think there's anything there we need, but you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crystal, so I was just like, why not? We're in the area. I
Yeah.
probably should have waited until I had better equipment, but
Yeah, I just
I didn't
figured,
die,
you know,
so.
I'll get a better sword later. That'll make it faster.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's a really fun mode. Looking forward to the rematch.
All right, sounds good. If either of you have any final thoughts, otherwise I'll take us into our outro for this, and everybody stick around because there's another match right after this.
Yeah. GG, Pikapals. Appreciate you guys commentating and tracking.
Yep, GG's. It's been fun. Hopefully it's another fun match right after.
All right, well, again, thank you to P-Train and Pikapals. Thank you to their co-pilots, Sabotender and Swerb. For those of you who enjoyed this race, definitely give our runners a follow. My name is Arusta. My co-commentator has been James FNX. Our tracker was Dark Diplomat. Thank you for watching here on Speed Gaming. And stick around because these two teams are rematching in about 20 minutes or so, pretty much right after this when they can get reset up. So definitely stick around. And then later in the day, we have pretty much matches from now until the end of the day on various channels from either Speed Gaming or the ALTTPR League. So definitely keep your eye on the ALTTPR League website if you're looking for plenty more to watch for the rest of the day. I will see you all in about 20 minutes or so. I'm co-commentating the next one, so see you all soon. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.